Hey guys, what's up? Is your third gen Silverado doing weird things? This one, my wipers quit. And every time I'd hit the wiper switch, the parking lights would come on. I'm going to show you how to fix that. The other day during a rainstorm, the wipers quit working and they just parked on the windshield and they wouldn't move. So I kept wiggling the switch back and forth, and once in a while they would move, then they would stop. Ended up driving all the way home, probably about 15 miles in a rainstorm without wipers. So the first thing you want to do, underneath the hood is the fuse panel with the relays, micro fuses, and the maxi fuses. Release these two tabs, pop the cover off. And back here, it's fuse number 24. That is your windshield wiper fuse. If it'll focus, number 24 is the front wiper assembly. Check that fuse. Make sure it's good. Wiggle the fuse. Pull it in and out. Check for corrosion. That's the first common problem of why the wipers don't work. I'm not going to get into it, but underneath the driver's side panel, you want to carefully pry up on this. There is a body control manual fuse in there. Fuse number 6 and 7 for the body control module. Check those fuses. One is a 20 amp and one is a 10 amp. Over on the passenger side, same thing. Pop this cover off. It's on there tight, so you got to pull. Those spring clips really hold. So over here, we have some more fuses. So then we're going to come over to our fuse diagram here and look at fuse number 28. It's a 10 amp BCM2. You're going to check that fuse. And if both these fuses on both sides check out good, chances are you have a bad fuse block. However, before you replace this fuse block, you're going to want to pop off these plastic clips here and then it's an 18 millimeter. Take the nuts off your wiper arms, gently but firmly pull up on the wiper arms, get this plastic cowling off. Your wiper motor's underneath. There's going to be a 5-pin connector that you should have different voltages going to when your wiper switch is on different speeds. Check and make sure you have power to the motor. I went to Advanced Auto and got this 40-1089 wiper motor. Before installing it, I plugged it in to my harness under here, and there was still no movement when I hit the switch. So that's how I narrowed it down to this fuse block being bad. So here's the old fuse block out. The new fuse block is GM part number 843-03174. I ordered this from my local dealer. It took about 2 days to come in, and they retail for just under $400. If you know somebody, maybe you can get a little bit of a deal, but I didn't have any other choice at this point. So this assembly comes, this is the used one, but the new one is identical. It comes with all the fuses, all the relays, so I was quite impressed about that. And you can see here, it just is basically, it's plug and play. The only thing we have is a 13 millimeter nut where the battery power cable comes in. The first thing you're going to want to do is disconnect your batteries. This one's a diesel, so it has 2 batteries. And then you're going to want to pry up on these levers here. And I'll go show you on the workbench. When you lift up on these levers, there's a cam system that unlocks the fuse block from the truck itself. So with the battery disconnected and the cover off, you're going to want to lift these up to unlock it. Once it's unlocked, you're going to use a 13 millimeter socket. I used a deep well. Took this nut off, carefully put the cable out of the way. Before you remove it, you have to take a 13 millimeter socket, take this bolt out here. I already have it loose for us. And then you're going to loosen up this one down here, this one right there. Swing this fender brace out of the way, and then you have a straight shot to pull your fuse block out. Disconnect The cable here, it's underneath this cover in the back. This is what it looks like. You just squeeze the tabs and it snaps off. So then you can put your new cable on. I suggest a little dielectric grease in there to protect. And then you just snap the new cover back on the new fuse block in the vehicle. Now when you're putting this in, you want to make sure it's lined up correctly and seated. And once it's in the right position, you push down on these levers and the fuse block will grab and it aligns up all the connectors perfectly. Don't force it, but you have to push a little firmly. So when that's done, we now have wipers that work at a constant speed. Before they'd come up halfway up the window, they would stop. Sometimes they'd move at different speeds. Sometimes going through the car wash, they would come on by themselves. Really annoying. On this cover, the big tabs here go in first towards the firewall. Just slide them in and line them up. Push down and it locks in. Now we just have to put our brace back on. 13mm bolt. This job was a lot quicker than I thought. I changed this out in probably about 5 minutes. Another thing you could do, while you have it out, I would suggest spraying WD-40 or some kind of light protectant that's approved for electrical in there. That'll just make this last longer and protect against corrosion. So again, if you're still with us, that part number is 843-03174, and it comes with all of the relays and fuses. It was a little expensive, but I'm happy it fixed my problem, and I was actually impressed that it came with all this. I thought for sure I was going to have to swap everything over, and that would be somewhat time consuming. So anyway, all fixed now. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, and we'll see you at the next problem.